420, damn it!
So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
I'm trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
You know I blame it on industry. I blame it on my own hypocrisy. It's education and politicians. No one's willing to step up and speak.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pace Radio Show. My name is Al Graham, and we are coming to you live here on LifestyleRadio.net as well as at Spreaker. Tonight, my joint host is returning after some time away, and I'd like to say welcome to Debbie Stutlz-Giffin. Hello, Deb.
Hi, Al. Thanks for the welcome.
Hey, it's good to have you back.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, and tonight Deb has lined up a guest who is a patient that is very, very active and has her hands involved in many things. But before we learn more, time for Deb and I to have a quick chat. So what's new and exciting down in the Atlantic provinces?
Well, I guess the biggest thing, Al, is everyone seems busily gearing up for legalization.
Yeah. So what are some of the provincial laws that are going on down there, like when it comes to public consumption, where you have to buy it?
There are going to be retail outlets through 13 liquor stores, and only one of them is going to be standalone cannabis, where you can actually go in and see the product, smell the product, that sort of thing, because they're afraid if the other cannabis outlets that are attached to liquor commissions, they don't want the smell of cannabis wafting into the liquor commission and offending all the people who prefer alcohol over cannabis, I guess. Pardon me, Smoke-Free Places Act is now will be extending so that people aren't allowed to consume cannabis in vehicles, whether they're a driver or a passenger, or whether the vehicle is parked beside the road with the keys in an apartment building somewhere. Doesn't make any difference. City of Halifax is looking at not allowing very much public consumption. There's talk of having a couple of designated smoking areas, but
That I've heard, yeah.
I could see that being hugely problematic. It looks like a number of landlords are moving in the direction of disallowing cannabis consumption or cultivation in their rental units. The claim is that it shouldn't affect patients because of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, but at the end of the day, if you're in an apartment consuming cannabis and you're a patient, you're going to be inconvenienced no matter what, because people will complain. There will be knocks on the door. You'll have to go through all of that nonsense, basically, to prove that you have the right to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, these public smoking laws, does this include tobacco, or is this little congregation spots, these smoking areas they're going to set up that is for cannabis?
Well, actually, HRM was initially threatening to include tobacco in with that, and they've backed away from tobacco.
So they're worried about inconvenience tobacco smokers, but they don't mind inconveniencing a cannabis smoker.
Well, one of the counselors wasn't so much looking in terms of inconvenience, but the fact that people who consume tobacco are addicted to it, so that should be a special consideration, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so it's just going to be an absolute mess, Al, is what I predict at the end of the day.
And like how's a person going to be able to tell a bottle officer to tell a difference between a joint and a cigarette from a distance, other than the smell?
Well, for sure. It's just going to put bylaw officers up in people's faces for no good reason, really.
Yeah, exactly.
And fining people for public consumption, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And certainly as a longtime activist in medical cannabis advocate, I'm just simply appalled at the shenanigans that they're trying to pull on the backs of people that have worked tirelessly for years to provide products to people who needed them, particularly patients, and now to have all levels of government basically wipe their feet on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Referring to them as being criminals and making efforts to shut them down. One of the well-loved dispensaries here in Dartmouth was raided a couple of weeks ago, and just days prior to that, Halifax City Police had made a round to all of the dispensaries, giving them letters telling them why they shouldn't be operating out of one side of their mouth, and out of the other side of their mouth telling them that if they had any problems of a criminal nature with people trying to rob them or physically harm them, do not hesitate to get in touch. And some of those same officers were involved in the raid and in fact almost struck with their vehicle a 65-year-old cancer patient.
Oh, no. Tell me that going on.
So how's that for serving and protecting?
Not very good. Not very good. Now, one last question. No private stores at all in Nova Scotia?
No, there doesn't seem to be any political will, if you will, for them to be in place whatsoever. And as chair of Maritimers Unite for Medical Marijuana Society, I met with, along with the key players in the Nova Scotia Medical Cannabis Association, the Nova Scotia Medical Cannabis Dispensary Association, and I'm sure I've got the ordering of that incorrect, but we met with the bureaucrat in the province who is in charge of legalization and put out the plight of patients, described in great detail the benefit and value of dispensaries, the vital role that they play in our communities, not just in medication provision alone, but the sense of community that they offer to people who don't have any other place to be because people don't understand them for whatever reason, whether it's their physical condition, the fact that they use cannabis as medicine, people just not finding a place to fit in until there's a dispensary that's opened up with a lounge where they can go and visit and relax and form relationships and bonds such that many of them have never had in their life or in a good long while at least.
Yeah, a place where they can go socialize and get out of the house and be with like-minded people. And not
for
being,
sure, and a
stigmatized.
Safe place to medicate.
That's right. Okay, well, let's move on. All right. Well, and at this time, I'd like to welcome our guest, who I mentioned is a patient that is very, very active and has their hands involved in many things. So I'd like to welcome Tamara Cartwright to the Pace Radio Show. Hello, Tamara.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
Oh, doing well, thanks, Al. Yeah. Always, like you said, busy, right?
Busy. How I know. What do we used to call you? Like a firefly. Just bzz, 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 go.
Well,
devil.
That's right. And there's absolutely no way, that we have to stop at this point with, Prohibition 2.0, like Debbie said, starting in the background here. It doesn't seem like we have any time to relax. And we want to just be able to have, that time. We've been working so hard for so long. It should be time for us to be able to enjoy this. And it's just not going to be that way.
Right. That's right. It is just because the word legalization is there doesn't mean that you stop. People are still advocating for changes in alcohol laws, and alcohol has been legal in this country for what, 80 years?
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah.
Absolutely. The thing I hate most, what I keep hearing in Nova Scotia when we keep mentioning that alcohol is far more dangerous than cannabis, is that, gee, we did it wrong with booze, so we've got to get it right with pot, is the basic approach they're taking, and again, demonizing cannabis to the point that it sure sounds way worse than alcohol ever was.
Oh, for sure.
I agree. I agree with
too.
that. And that's the thing, like you were speaking about in Nova Scotia. It's not going to be any different here in British Columbia, quite frankly. In fact, we've been, known to be the foremost more liberal province in the country as far as marijuana goes or cannabis goes, with BC Bud being, worldwide and renowned. But this government that we've got out here as well is stifling this industry to the point where if you get caught smoking in public in British Columbia, you're going to go to jail. And that is not legalization. That is the most arbitrary bullshit I've ever heard.
You can't even grow a plant in British Columbia with invisible view, or you get 3 months in jail.
Correct. And a $5,000 fine behind that. So, and again, the municipalities, of course, being able to make bylaws, like Debbie was saying as well, it's just going to, there's no words to alliterate what a shit show this is going to be.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yes, it's going to happen big time. It's going to be a shit show.
And when we read things like the Senate report, it alluded to all of the money that we would be saving, all of the billions of tax dollars, by being able to reduce law enforcement and judicial expenses. This is going to do the exact opposite.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. And out here as well, like with the non-public consumption, the non-availability of vapor lounges, I don't even know how to say it. They're working through things with the BCEGU. So we have union on top of it. So it's not like people aren't going to have access. People will still have access, but they're going to have to go to the store, buy it, take it home, and hide in their closets with it still. Non-visible plants, non-consumption in public. Where, like I said this morning on my show, I would come from Alberta. And in Alberta, we were so conservative that, you couldn't do that. Alberta is going and moving and stepping forward, where you can actually, in Edmonton, for example, you'll be able to go to whichever store, whether it's, and still I'm not happy with the fact that it's all going to be coming from the licensed production sites. But you can go to that store, buy your pack of, whatever you're going to buy to smoke, and then go to the park and consume it. And they're not even going to have designated areas. Edmonton's going to let you smoke in public where you can consume and smoke tobacco. Alberta is, like I said, I'm flabbergasted at how liberal they're becoming with cannabis, considering it's been a conservative stronghold for so many years.
Jasper was in the news this week because of their liberal laws on the cannabis thing, and they've actually applied to the government for variances to allow closer than 100 meters between a school or a liquor store to be able to have their cannabis stores closer. And they're not even going to limit the number of stores that they have.
Alberta, I was told, has 300 pre-approved applications already in the queue. So 300 dispensary licenses have already been approved in Alberta. And that's just a week ago. It could be higher than that now. So, and in British Columbia, I'm not even sure, to be honest with you, because it's been so hush-hush about, in actuality, what the government's going to do. They barely have come out with anything stating, except for, we are going to crack down even harder than what we did before.
Unreal.
Yeah. Crack down. Yes. Yeah. That's not, but it's nice to see where they've got all those, businesses lined up. I know here in Ontario we haven't got anything. Other than, the ones that people are going now.
There's no plan here either. And
Yeah,
that's the
they'll
thing.
keep
Like,
doing.
we've got dispensaries in Alberta, sorry, British Columbia, that are hardworking people. I'm not even going to dispute it. Like every dispensary owner out there, they're legitimate. They should be legitimized. And these people have put all their money and efforts into these businesses. And, the one said to me, I'm just going to keep my head low until October 17th and see what happens. And I'm just like, please, I know you don't want to shut your doors, but the applications out here, I don't think they are available. You can get one, but if you go through them, it's like, what? Like, if you pull it up on Google and just look at the BC restrictions on owning and having anything to do with a dispensary, it's all through our provincial LCBO. You have to have union members working for you, so the BC EGU, and it's all having to go through the government. And there's no specifications really on how many they're going to allow. And here in my town, Dicor Pharmaceuticals are here, and they're basically wanting to have a monopoly on the storefront that's going to be here. So how many other small towns across this country have a larger corporation coming in and saying, okay, we're going to monopolize? So everybody in this town has no other option but then to be supplied through whatever store that is in this town by that one. I'm not saying that that's the only one, but if they're the only one that's allowed to have a store, then all the product that's going to be going through that storefront is going to be coming through one licensed producer. And that's a monopoly, and that's something I don't want to see happen to any one of the stores across this country.
So they could have more than one store, but it'll all be one company?
Well, I'm not saying that, but the way it's kind of situated right now is we have one licensed producer that's coming to town that's going to be able to have the storefront that's available. Cranbrook is only going to be allowing a couple of them. And it's still going to be through the Liquor Control Board, right? But having the licensed producer here in town with a storefront and then limiting on anybody else that can have anything makes it so it's a monopoly, that one store and that licensed producer is going to monopolize what sales go on in a small town. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's no good. You gotta give choice, variety.
Absolutely.
Right, Debbie?
You can easily tell that the people making the majority of these decisions don't have or aren't willing to acknowledge, if they do, experience with understanding and using the plant.
Absolutely.
They don't seem to get that people aren't going to be happy with a handful of choices for selection.
Well, I think they're not giving us enough credit as consumers. Like, I think they're not understanding the fact that people have had a vast variety of product for a long time. And I think they do realize that and why they want to squash it. But people aren't stupid. With mail order marijuana being available to people across this country for the last 20 years, people that work in vast, majorities, like my husband works in the oil patch, for example, and I've got friends that work in their, wives and stuff, and they all order online. And they like their edibles and they like their extracts, and they plan on continuing even after legalization to still use those marijuana mail order dispensaries. So I don't know how this is going to pan down, to be quite honest, when you've got consumers that are going to actually be the ones that make the choice.
Well, for sure. And I can't see, even with increasing by law enforcement officers, with increasing basic law enforcement personnel, I can't see them putting this cat back into the bag. There are just so many businesses out there in the gray area, the black market, whatever the heck you want to call it, dispensaries, craft industries, the whole nine, that they're never going to make all of this go away. It might have worked in 2002 if they'd have jumped on it with the Senate committee's recommendation to legalize cannabis and had have tried to move forward with this kind of a model then. But by God, 16 years later, I can't see this working. Not with all of the products that have been introduced to the market in the meantime, and that network that exists behind the scenes. They're not going to do it.
I think
No.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Tamara.
I agree with Debbie. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's putting the cat back in the bag that's already out. I mean, they can try and squash us legally. I mean, they can try and, put us and arrest us. But I mean, in reality, how many of us are they going to be able to put in jail? So the cat's out of the bag. And the hardest part about this, and I understand the whole edible, FDA, public safety. I get the whole public safety dosing. But if they would have, just like you said, went ahead in 2002 and started doing research on dosing, so that when they came out with this eventually, we would have some realm to, something to go on, except for the fact that we've done this ourselves as patients. We know what we need. We know what strains we need. We know the amounts we need. We know when to take the amounts we need. And we've done this on our own because our doctors aren't getting it. And I think that's, and even for, like I said this morning too as well, like there's a silver lining to this legalization to a point, just for the simple fact that how many college and physicians across this country have been blocking medical patients for how many years? None of these doctors are willing to step up and sign medical patients' paperwork. So the accessibility for people that have been blocked to be able to try, to be able to, have that stigma of legalization, or that it's not illegal anymore for me to walk into this store and try this. So that, I guess, to me, is the only silver lining to this, is the fact that people that have been blocked by ignorant doctors and ignorant college of physicians that will refuse to see the benefits of medical cannabis will actually get the access that they deserve, and not feel the stigmatization and the fact that they have to look over their shoulder because they're trying to feel better. That's the only silver lining in any of this legislation, to me.
Yeah, I agree. There's a big benefit there for people who are having problems with access to doctors, but we also know that the doctors are trying to say, well, if you've got access, then why do you need us to sign documentation?
Absolutely, and I think that's absolutely wrong too. But like I said on the other, but there's no other silver lining to this, Al. You and I both know this Prohibition 2.0. We know it's not decriminalization. We know that people are going to get fined. There are people that are going to go to jail, probably in excess in the next 2 years, more than we've ever seen before, probably in the history of Canada, for pot. And that scares the living crap out of me, that I have to worry about the fact that I have to look over my shoulder every time I jump in my car, because I'm known to people. I know the cops know who I am in here, and they're just waiting for a reason. Blood side test, what do you think my nanograms are going to be at? Right?
I think any of us driving are driving at risk. Really?
Right?
Unless you're a patient who doesn't medicate.
Well, and when you look at the basic roadside sobriety test that they have in effect now, where they get you out and have you walk heel to toe and close your eyes, touch your nose with your finger, and there's 3 or 4 more in there. That's exactly the type of a physical regime I have to go through if I go to see a neurologist because I have MS. And all of those things I could not medicate for a year, and I would still not be able to do those things because I'm physically impaired due to the fact that I have MS.
Right? So how is that right? It's absolutely
I'll
not.
fail that and go straight to needing to have the saliva test.
Right? And then the blood test. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. And then what? They're going to impound your vehicle, and then you're what? Stuck on the side of the road? Oh, they're going to put you in jail because you're sick. It's just arbitrary on all levels. Like,
absolutely, especially when you look at the whole levels, and it doesn't mean a bloody thing. At least with alcohol, there's scientific data to back the decisions that they've made, and these are just numbers that they've pulled out of thin air and put on a piece of paper and said, by God, that's the way we're going to do it.
Big time.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I keep saying, where are the stats? The Conservative government shut down Stats Canada for 5 years. Where the hell are their stats? They don't have any. They've been scrambling for the last 2 years to collect and base data on nothing. I mean, even, all these polls and stuff that they take, that they pay people to phone you up and ask you stuff, how much of that is actually accurate either? So I don't think they have anything to base anything on. I think they're just pulling shit out of their ass. Literally.
Completely agree. Because there is no. They know that they've even admitted to it. You know, they're spending $1 million to try to discover it, and they're gonna have to spend a lot more than $1 million.
Right. They won't. But here's the thing: they won't spend $1 million on finding out what the benefits are. They won't spend the $1 million that's needed to find out what the cannabinoid systems that are actually existing in our bodies actually do. They'll waste their fucking money on enforcement and trying to stop us from being healthy. And that's the biggest crime I think that our government's producing right now as it is.
It's all about finding the negative. It's all about finding the negative.
Right. And
majority,
how much money...
Go ahead.
It'll be interesting to see, though, now because we have a new raft of research happening in the country being financed by licensed producers. Because the Harper government approximately 10 years ago shut down any of the research that was being conducted through Health Canada for medical purposes. But now the licensed producers are picking up that torch. And by God, it would seem
there he is. He's back.
I'm just kidding. You guys shatter ice myself.
There you go.
I'm doing the same thing.
I got mine. Okay. We're live. We're still live. Hey, everybody. We're still live. Hey, that's what happens in live shows, right? You just never know. They sneak up from behind you. Okay. I don't recall where you guys were at.
The arbitrariness of all this.
Arbitrariness, that's right. Of all the, like the driving, the 5 nanograms, the 2.5 to 5 nanograms, you get $1,000 fine and you get your license suspension. And over 5 nanograms, they say you're completely impaired.
Right? I'd fail. You'd fail. We'd all fail. Anybody that's addicted to consumer for medicinal, it would fail. Because that's like what, half a joint? Like, what is 5 nanograms actually? Like, do you have the
five 1/billionths of a gram of THC in your blood.
So that's about half a puff. Like, what is half?
5 billionths of a gram.
Half
so,
a
yeah.
puff 4 days.
Right, Debbie. Half a puff.
You
4
could
days,
be
4 days up in your car.
We had Colton Turner on once, and he said that when he wakes up in the morning, because he lives in a state that has medical, but the driving is 5 nanograms. And he wakes up in the morning and he's at 35, so he doesn't even have a driver's license.
Right. Like, what are they going to do? Your driver's licenses too? I tell you, I'd die without my driver's license. I can't be without a driver's license. There's no fucking way. And I can't be without cannabis. So what are they going to do with that?
I know it's really, yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm almost 10 minutes outside of the closest town. I'm a quarter of a mile from my closest neighbor.
Wow. Yeah.
Better get a fucking horse, Debbie. Horse and cart. We'll be all running around with horses and carts.
Horse and cart.
That person smokes marijuana. They got a horse and cart.
They'll probably come up with some damn bylaw to cover that too.
Probably. Well, ladies, why don't we take a bit of a break? Take a commercial.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Tonight, our music is by K-Dub. And the song Tamara, I usually try to match the song to the guest. And I find different ways of doing that. And this song actually matches you and myself. And the song is called I Got IBD.
Absolutely.
Okay. When we return, Deb and I will continue our conversation with Tamara Cartwright. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at lifestyleradio.net.
Hey, this is Cheech. And this is Chong. And you're listening to Lifestyle Radio. What is it? Lifestyle Radio. Say it one more time. 420 Radio? Ooh.
Hang up and try again.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Let me go and tell them, let me go ahead and speed. Now Crohn's and colitis, stay on the same side. Both cause inflammation all up in your intestines. Usually keeps it low in the colon, mainly home. Blown up from top to bottom, chances are you rocking chrome. But check it either way, you're now welcome to the game. IBD don't set you free, got some things you need to change. The gut's a crazy thing, start a journal of what you eat.
Man, have you been to Canada's yet? Canada's, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck and wholesaler Nexus. Canada's. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Canada's can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Canada's. Have your say without saying a word. Canada's.ca.
Hi, this is Al Graham of the Pace Radio Show. Are you keeping pace, as in keeping people advocating cannabis education? If you're not, and you're a cannabis consumer, then why not? Others are working hard every day to help educate people about cannabis so you can enjoy your daily 420. Get involved and speak out. Be loud and proud so that you can keep pace. Tune into the Pace Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hear about people advocating cannabis education here on lifestyleradio.ca. The 5th Annual Karma Cup Cannabis Festival and Industry Trade Show is an elite medical cannabis, hash, edibles, topical, and heady glass competition. It also includes live music, speakers, glass marketplace, vendor village, exhibitors, and much more. Hand-picked judges evaluate many categories including bud, extract, CBD products, and disposable vape pens. This outdoor, rain or shine event will be held in downtown Toronto on September the 8th and 9th, but its secret location won't be released until September the 7th at 4:20 p.m. via social media. The Karma Cup was founded in 2013 by Sarah Sunday in order to create a cannabis-positive space for growers, producers, business owners, industry experts, and their fans in order to gather and judge the country's best cannabis and cannabis products on an even playing field. Please join us, be part of Canada's largest ticketed Cannabis Pride Festival, the 5th Annual Karma Cup Cannabis Festival and Industry Trade Show on September the 8th and 9th in downtown Toronto. For more information, please go to thekarmacup.com.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Put you on the salami, lie out the answers come. All the names that you probably seen, chilling in the flip. Probably hit you with that Brady pill. Sarah's throw you up, hard to control how you really feel. Move face wide awake, always hungry, hard to sleep. On some side effects do get you on inflamed. For those whose bodies break, gotta hit that rim of cake. I beat up in 2 months, help that gut be got to save. Now I know I'm gonna have fun on this, but I gotta be real for 1 second. IBD may be the disease that you have.
Hello and welcome back. You're listening to the award-winning Pace Radio Show, and we are live here at lifestyleradio.net and at Spreaker Radio, or you can find us at other audio locations such as TuneIn Radio or at Canada's in downtown Campbellford. Tonight on the show we have our guest, cannabis patient and a writer as well. And that is Tamara Cartwright, plus my joint host, Debbie Stutlz-Giffin of the Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana. Well, Deb, got the first segment through. You ready for the second one?
Absolutely.
All righty. I'll let you lead off with the question, and I'll just jump in as we'll go along.
Sure thing. Thanks, Al. Well, we spent a bit of time talking about legalization and how we think all of that's going to pan down. Let's spend some time, Tamara, talking about you and what you've been up to as an activist in Cranbrook.
Well,
you've got a cup that's about to happen in 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. I know. Still got the tingles for all about it because it's a bit stressful. But yeah, I figured, we've done a couple of global marijuana marches and such out here. And I've been trying to open up the community for the last, 4 years that I've been here. So I had one of the farmers say to me, what we need out here? We need a cannabis cup. And this was a year ago. And I went, okay, well, if you're going to step up and help me out, then we'll do it. So I went and started planning, March of this year. Then it kind of went back and forth and wasn't sure whether it was going to pan down because sponsorship wasn't rushing out to step up. And I'm not a rich person, so it wasn't a matter of me being able to just say, okay, well, I'm just going to throw this money out and have a great big party. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, okay, we're going to do this. So that's what I've been working towards. We're ready to go 2 days from now at Shenanigans Pub in downtown Cranbrook. We've got more entries than I actually quite expected, and I'm overwhelmed and thankful for and grateful for all my sponsorship that I have had. So yeah, we're gearing up, and I've got great speakers coming in. I've got people coming in from Australia, and I've got people coming in from Vancouver, Airdrie, Alberta. Sarah McNeil's coming in with her and going to speak. She's a Canada mom. Her daughter Maya suffers from epilepsy and other, she's disabled. So she's going to come and speak. And then I've got May Moon coming out to speak. And I've also got Carolyn Todd speaking and some great entertainment. So I think to open up and bring this community together is something that we all need to do in our areas, no matter where we are in Canada, and try and, reach out and normalize cannabis as much as we can.
Well, absolutely, because that's one thing that the federal government have said that they're quite opposed to is normalizing cannabis. So I think that's crucial that we do all that in our individual areas, that we work as diligent as we can to continue to normalize it, because once your feet are to the street and you get to know the people out and about and around you, basically it has been normalized, and I think it's our job to continue.
Absolutely. And you can go and you can keep talking to your MPs and keep talking to your MLAs, and and that's all great too, but you have to keep changing your neighbors' minds, because those are the people that are going to be the Dudley do-goods at the end of the day after legalization. They will phone in and make the complaint. They'll be the ones that phone in and say, hey, my neighbor's smoking weed and I don't like it. And those are going to be the arbitrary things that go on to, in bylaws situations across this country. So if we can be out there and normalize it, make it so like it's not something that's got stigma to it. So this event has there's no cannabis sales on site, which is unfortunate, but because of the liquor laws and because it's a pub, but even to have a pub saying, yeah, we kind of think this is cool, and yeah, we'll let you come in here and do this. And that's a step forward as far as I can tell in this town anyway. And that being, having the liquor inspector be told and him say, well, as long as there's no cannabis sales on site, we're good. And so I'm taking this medium and advantage of the fact that I'm going to be able to educate people. I'm not naive to the fact that I'm sure there's going to be people watching, and I'm hoping that they are, because I'm hoping that they can see that we're just people like them that work, that pay taxes, that want to go out and have a good time and maybe not spend all their money in the bar, but have a place to go where they can all congregate. So this is kind of, another bridging area where we can show that we're just people like everybody else.
Absolutely. Was it very difficult to secure a location?
Surprisingly enough, they were down for it right off the hop. In fact, the chef at the place is a medically licensed patient himself. So he was basically told the owner, this is something that we really need to do. We need to let people have access and have the community support and be able to congregate. So he was really beneficial to help me get with this. But the owner of the bar too, he also, I won't say anything on the air, but was okay with it. It really wasn't that hard to secure, to be honest with you. And they've been really helpful. They advertise on their Facebook pages. They've been, trying to get ticket sales through their venue as well. And they've offered to fence off the back area and put a tent up for the glass blowers. And I think, that's terrific. And Neil Hanneman's here from Ottawa, and I drove him when I picked him up off the from the plane. I drove him past the venue. I said, so here's the venue, and 4 doors down, this is City Hall. Oh, and across the alley, there's the RCMP station, because that's how I'm playing this. I'm not hiding anything. We're not doing anything wrong. We're here. Legalization is coming, and you guys are going to have to figure out how you're going to deal with it. And this is how we're dealing with it. We're going to educate everybody as much as we can. We're going to be here consuming it in front of you, and there's not going to be anything that you're going to do about it. Because I've rented this place. This is not even a public access place anymore. It's a private party. So they can't even come in and say you're smoking in public, because we're not.
You mentioned a chef, and it's a pub. I'm assuming there's going to be some meals involved as well?
Absolutely. Friday night, when you come in at 4:20 when the doors are opening, you can come in and there'll be appies and stuff, but you're responsible for your own food and stuff and your drinks on Friday night. But there'll be trays of, fruit and veg and that kind of stuff laid out in munchies all weekend. And then Saturday night, we're having a meal. And then we have Daryl Mack, who's a comedian out of Calgary, coming to perform too. But Dawson Rutledge on Friday night, who's a young, up-and-coming, award-winning Canadian talent, and he's local. So we've booked him to come in, and we're hoping, just like I said, I wanted to really focus and showcase these Kootenays. I'm from here. I was born here. It's the Sunshine Capital of Canada, and I really wanted to, show the world who we were, and, didn't come, across that. So now I'm showing the world who we are as the cannabis community, as I'm bringing everybody here.
Well, that's awesome, especially where you have someone coming as far away as Australia.
I have 2 people coming in from Australia, actually. The Huntress from Nimbin is also coming. She, last minute decided to book her own flight and jump on a plane with Carol and Todd. So I got 2 ladies from Australia speaking this weekend.
Exciting.
Yeah.
That's good. Coming in all the way from Australia. Wow.
Yeah. And like I said, Neil's here from Ottawa. I've got another friend of ours, Arlene, who's jumped in a semi, the crazy lady that she is, and she's coming all the way out from Nova Scotia. So, and the BC Bud Depot guys are coming in from the island. And like I said, Sarah's coming in from Airdrie, Maymoon's coming in from Vancouver, and she's bringing along 3 carloads of people from the coast too. So, like I said, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be epic. We're going to have a good time and enjoy the intimate surroundings that we're in and the beautiful Rockies, and hopefully the wind blows a bit and gets rid of some of this smoke.
So what are maybe some of the problems there's good times involved in setting up this, and there's also hard times involved as well. What are some of the things that maybe you've come across that you learned that you know not to do again?
The hardest part of it was actually getting entries, to be honest with you, and sponsorship, just due to the fact that it's a small area. I was asked what caliber a cup this is, and I'm like, we're a first-time cup. We're just trying to forge our way. But people are scared, Al. They're, worried about legalization and where their small businesses are going to be after October the 17th. So I had one of them say to me, well, what's the point of promoting my garden and my branding if I'm not going to do anything after October 17th anyway? And that was a lot of the going consensus. Many of the entries we do have are all anonymous. They don't want to be named, which I totally respect. I had people ask me who's putting what in and what's going to be this. And it's like, I'm sorry, that's confidential. I have to keep that, anonymity for these people because they're putting their face forward by showing up at this cup to begin with. But, if they win, they might come forward. I was told on a couple of occasions, but it's been, like I said, that being the biggest hurdle is people are scared. They're unsure. They don't know where they're going to be. And what is it, 58 days or something from now?
Yeah. It's avoiding the crackdown. That's
these are family. They have families.
Yeah.
These people have families and children, and they've based a lot of it on the fact that they're patients. They've got licensing to grow in their PPL. They've then thought, okay, well, with my PPL, maybe I can make a small business out of this. And they're disabled people, a lot of them. So why shouldn't they be able to turn what they can do into something that keeps them off the system? So they're not pulling off disability from our government, taking away from the tax dollars. And many of these people don't. And that's the saddest part about it. A couple of them said to me, if I can't grow and do this, I'm going to have to go and live on $958 a month in BC. I can't do that. And then they've got kids to feed. And how are these people that have been, not relying on government assistance by forging their way in this illegal industry for so many years, have to turn back on that? Because there's lots of them out there that don't have $1 million mansions and don't have boats. They have kids and they're living, hand to mouth just like the rest of us. So that's, the reality of it. There's a gold rush happening for people that have, and there's a feast or famine for the people that don't.
Yeah, yes, you're right. There is. There's so many that were looking forward to being included in legalization, and they're finding that they're not, they're not being involved. Wayne here, he was in the paper recently hoping that maybe with the change of government and their strategy going to private, that maybe the little guys will have an opportunity, but they seem to be the last ones on the totem pole that get an opportunity in order to be involved.
I watched Carolyn Mulroney stand there and say, if you're running an illegal business in Ontario, you better shut it down.
Yeah.
And I was appalled by that, because how can you put somebody out of business that's been running for 10 years? Somebody that's sustaining other people's families, somebody that is paying their taxes. It's no different than a hair salon. I think I said that over and over again. How dare they not legitimize a small business entrepreneur that's already been existing for at least 10 years? That's just...
And especially ones that have a very good reputation within the community, because there's some well-established ones within Toronto that
haven't had complaints at all.
Yeah, exactly, which would be very sad to see them have to shut down and go.
Right? But what options are they going to have? Are they going to have the inspectors come and put deadbolts on their doors and seize all their assets so that they don't have a choice and they don't have an option, that the only thing they can do is fold? And that's where I hate to say it, but I've kind of foresee this happening, where they're not going to give anybody a choice. Now
they're suggesting to shut down and come back under the new system, but there's no guarantee. And then what? Some of these places, like we said, are well established. Where are those patients going to go for the next, who knows how long?
They expect them to go to their licensed production.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We'll
grab
call
whatever they can.
Yeah, 1-800-OCS. Yeah.
Right. Right. So they, cash grab as long as they can. So it's a government. Doesn't matter whether it's taxes, insurance. What does it matter? They're always trying to grab our money out of our pockets. No matter how hard you work, the more you make, the more they take.
Oh, hey, yeah, that's right. The more they do take, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, then there's no consideration for patients when it comes to taxation even.
No. Well, look at Manitoba. There they've canceled the PST because they've got fees on their cannabis. And with the PST, it didn't make it competitive with the black market. So they dropped the PST off on the recreational, but they left it on the medical.
Left it on the medical.
Left it on the medical.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Well, that's because they know that it's a for sure thing because people need it, so they're absolutely going to get it. So they have no option but to pay the PST. Another point that was made too today was, with all this mail order, no matter what province you're going to be in recreational when October 17th comes, if you're a low-income person that doesn't have a job or doesn't have a credit card, how are you going to purchase cannabis?
The only thing I could think of is that they would be required to go out and buy one of those prepaid cards.
Right, but what if you're housebound? What if you can't? Like,
exactly, yeah.
What if you don't have access to the internet? Like, where do they figure? Like, they figure they're just October 17th, the black market's going to pack up shop and we're all just going to go away. Run away. We're going to come get you. Like, I don't know how they figure this is going to pan out. I don't.
And you go to places where there's free Wi-Fi, and sometimes there's limited access to sites or no access to sites that have anything to do with cannabis because they've decided to censor those sites for people that are using their free Wi-Fi.
Right?
Oh, yes. Yes. I've seen that. Yeah, even the PACE website's been. I wasn't able to access it at one time. I thought, what? Come on.
Right?
Yeah. It couldn't be any stranger if we locked ourselves in a room and tried to imagine some of the worst case scenarios where if cannabis were to become legalized. Like the truth is stranger than fiction.
Isn't that the case, though? Like, I didn't really think that this is where we were going to end up, quite honestly. I figured, a little bit of regulation. Okay, we might not have been able to get, to the free market to, go put our stuff at the, farmer's market, but didn't quite think it was going to be this.
Yeah, I knew there was going to be some regulation on it as well. But yeah, there's some points that obviously need to be changed.
But how can we actually do that when you sit back and you see the bylaws and different county laws? Because out here we have the RDEK and we have the city of Cranbrook. Then you have the city of Kimberley. We're in Kimberley, which is 35 kilometers away, have embraced cannabis. They're more than happy to have a couple of dispensaries up there. They're kicking back to the community and they're fine with it. Then 35 kilometers away you have us, and they're like, no way, not happening. Yeah. No way, right? So, I know province to province. So how are we supposed to change things when everything is so different province to province now?
Yeah, well, we have towns that are opting out. They have a one-time opt-out opportunity where people won't be able to buy it in that town. They'll have to get it online or go to another town. So it's not eliminating anything. Basically, what a lot of people are saying is they're actually helping the black market by opting out because the person who's buying it locally is going to keep buying it locally.
Right.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then that's going to put everybody at risk. So it's just going to have to, like I said, I don't see. Well, and like I said, part of me says, okay, well, this is good, access for everybody that hasn't had access, and blah blah blah, and no joint, passing is going to go and get anybody trafficking charges anymore, and some of it's okay, but when you look at the overall, it just sucks so bad.
Yeah, there are bad spots. Like, I have friends, and I've said this before, I have friends that like it because they've been busted with 3 joints. Or I have another friend who got busted for one plant. And had to
Right.
go to court, and he got a fine. You know, that person who's not involved in the cannabis thing otherwise, you know, they are happy. But yeah, there's you know, people who are involved in the cannabis end of things, yeah, they realize that there are changes that need to be made for sure.
I got trafficking charges for 4 grams.
Yeah.
Right? So, I've had possession charges for 6 grams. So, in these new laws, right, that are coming up now, I wouldn't have a criminal record. You know what I mean? For pot.
Yeah.
But now, as it stands, I mean, I'm not sure about the trafficking. They might no, because 4 grams we're going to be allowed to share within 30-gram limit, right?
Yeah.
So, with the laws that are coming up after October 17th, the 3 charges that I have for cannabis on my record would not exist. Because they were all under. One was for 6 grams, one was for 4 grams, one was for, trafficking. Yeah. So I got 2 possession and 1 trafficking, because they couldn't nail me with the trafficking with the 4 grams, because I had a possession license with my MMAR. So, but like they said, that being said, all those charges that I do have for cannabis in these new regulations now, I would not have.
That's right. That's right. And a person who's not involved in the cannabis community whatsoever, it doesn't really follow things, but it has had those charges. You know, they might be thinking, well, under the new laws, you know, they wouldn't be charged, so to them that would be good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the person who's just not involved in things, but but there needs to be changes big time and stuff. You know, those 14 years and everything. So, but okay, ladies, let's take a break. Go for a break time. Here's some more of that. Some of that music there by K-Dub and I Got IBD.
Awesome.
All right, then we return. Deb and I will continue our conversation with Tamara Cartwright. You're listening to the Pace Radio Show. We are live here at lifestyleradio.net.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
Let's go. It's up to the disease, is what's going on inside of me. Some of you got Crohn's, can Jesus got you see? Let me go and tell them, let me go ahead and speak.
Canada, the time to act is now. These days, your customers are seeking variety. Increase your earning potential by expanding your inventory with CC Nexus, Canada's largest cannabis seed wholesaler. CC Nexus stocks over 60 reputable breeders, including Canuck seeds, with a wealth of autoflower, regular, feminized, and CBD strains. All first-time customers will receive a free pack of Canuck seeds, plus a mug, t-shirt, and additional promotional materials. Add strains and increase your profit with CC Nexus, your Canadian-owned and operated wholesaler of cannabis seeds. Discreet, worldwide stealth shipping from Canada, supporting you locally. Call today, 1-844-843-7995, 1-844-843-7995, or visit us at ccnexus.global.
Are you looking for cannabis news, education, and people's opinions? Are you looking to learn what Canadian and international cannabis advocates are doing? Not only now, but what got them to this point in their lives, and what does the future hold for them? Do you want to learn how patients are using cannabis as their daily medication, or learn how their cannabis use helps them with their medical condition? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I'm going to suggest to you to tune in to Lifestyle Radio. Catch their live weekly shows and have your questions and concerns answered and find the experience you're looking for. Monday, catch your weekly news broadcast with the Reef Reporters. Then on Wednesday, get several hours worth of cannabis public education. We get things started with Cannabis and Coffee with Tamarijuana. Then tune in and catch Pottawa with Russell Barth, who calls himself the world's angriest pothead. Finish up your evening with the award-winning Pace Radio Show with Al Graham and joint host Kim Cooper and Alicia Yashishin. No week would be complete without tuning in to Friday night's program, the 420 Radio Show featuring Al Rapp, and the 420 Radio crew, Mary Jane Baker and Marcel Gagnac. Cannabis is a lifestyle, and you can catch all your cannabis lifestyle information right here at lifestyleradio.net or at our sister site, 420radio.ca. The 5th Annual Karma Cup Cannabis Festival and Industry Trade Show is an elite medical cannabis, hash, edibles, topical, and heady glass competition. It also includes live music, speakers, glass marketplace, vendor village, exhibitors, and much more. Hand-picked judges evaluate many categories including bud, extract, CBD products, and disposable vape pens. This outdoor, rain or shine event will be held in downtown Toronto on September the 8th and 9th, but its secret location won't be released until September the 7th at 4:20 p.m. via social media. The Karma Cup was founded in 2013 by Sarah Sunday in order to create a cannabis-positive space for growers, producers, business owners, industry experts, and their fans in order to gather and judge the country's best cannabis and cannabis products on an even playing field. Please join us, be part of Canada's largest ticketed Cannabis Pride Festival, the 5th Annual Karma Cup Cannabis Festival and Industry Trade Show on September the 8th and 9th in downtown Toronto. For more information, please go to thekarmacup.com.
Man, have you been to Cannadays yet? Cannadays, Campbellford's premier cannabis culture shop at 19 Bridge Street West. They've got bongs, oil rigs, grinders, and papers. Everything you need for consumption. They've got seeds, soil, nutrients, and dome trays too. Everything you need for cultivation. Get top quality seeds from top suppliers like Canuck and wholesaler Nexus. Cannadays. They've got all kinds of awesome cannabis novelties, clothing, and apparel. I know, right? It's a lot more than just a bong shop. Interested in gaining legal access? Cannadays can help. They're a PACE information center. You know, people advocating cannabis education. Come by the shop and check it out. 19 Bridge Street West, Campbellford. Cannadays. Have your say without saying a word. Cannadays.ca.
The title is colitis, other cats got Crohn's. Whichever way you work it, every feeling so alone. But I'm here to tell you first, you ain't all by yourself. Cause almost 1 million people's guts yelling out for help. Some of y'all get mad, others start to cry. Saline Archiata has us asking doctors why. It ain't the end of the world, cause it does get better than the fetal position curl. Ups and downs, they come and go, not always a diamond blow. Hear me when I say to y'all, yes, I'm being
dirty to me now.
Welcome back, and thanks for tuning into the show. We have been broadcasted live at lifestyleradio.net, as well as this Spreaker. Plus, you can catch your podcast available afterwards at YouTube, iTunes, and North America wide on iHeartRadio. Tonight, featured in our music was K-Dube, and if you enjoyed his music, you can find it online as well as on YouTube. Today on the program, we're joined by our guest, writer and event organizer and radio show host, Tamara Cartwright, and my joint host, Debbie Stutlz-Giffin from the Maritimers United for Medical Marijuana. Well, ladies, we're down to the last segment of the program, and we got ourselves about 20 minutes or so. Deb, where would you like to go? We're just going to continue on with the Kootenai Cup.
Sure thing. You had mentioned, Tamara, that you're going to have some glass blowers at your event.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd like to tell our listeners a little bit about who they are. And
Narc Glass is going to be here for sure. We were going to have some others show up, but they've had to opt out, which is fine. But Narc Glass is going to be here. Kristen is super talented. She was recommended to me by a friend of mine, and being local, because they're in the Slocan Valley out of Wendell, which is only a couple hours from here. So it engaged with the theme of keeping things local. I wanted to, like I said, reach out to the West Kootenai too, because that really is where the hub of the interior of British Columbia's growing really is done. And I'm in the East Kootenai, which is, an hour, kind of gap between us, but engaging with everybody out there. So really super stoked to have them coming out to blow glass. And she's, like I said, I can't even alliterate how talented and how pleased I am with the trophies that they made for us.
I've seen the pictures of the trophies, and I've seen firsthand some of Kirsten's work, actually, because she's sponsored a dab bar at an event that we do here on the East Coast, one of Mum's major fundraisers, Harvest Fest. She's donated an amazing piece of glass for at least the last 2, if not 3 years.
Absolutely. And like I said, I was, I'm not really a glass follower. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not. Like, I don't really follow the glass blowers and stuff. I'm more political and, keep into the policies and stuff, what's going on within, what I can do to change things within, the government type of thing. And I'm really starting to admire the art form that really comes along with it. So when you see a piece of glass that's worth, like, they got a huge price tag on it, believe me, it's worth that because these people put their hearts into it. So I'm really, again, super stoked to have them coming out to blow glass. And I think possibly we might have Vagabond coming out too. They haven't confirmed. I'm hoping that they do come. But, like I said, just having her and her husband coming out is epic in itself. And, of course, like I said, it would be entertainment. Having Daryl Mack come out from Calgary, too, is something that I had, wanted to do when I was involved with the Cannabis Coalition way back when we were trying to raise money for the coalition, and wanted to have a party at my house in Coronation and wanted to hire Daryl to come out and do it then. So this is kind of something that I've aspired to do. I did a fundraiser in Lethbridge years ago for Mark Emery, and with help of other people. Like, trust me, I had lots of help with that one. I'm not going to dispute that one in any way, shape, or form. As much as, I will shout out to Fiona Doherty because she did, step up and help me out quite a bit through a lot of things in Lethbridge. But this is, just something that I felt that needed to be done here. The Global Marijuana March brings out, like I said, 10 people. If we can educate the city, and it's a small city, I'm not going to say it's, huge, it's 20,000 people, but very conservative. So if I can keep educating, because that's always been my goal right from the get-go, is educating people and taking, that stigma away from us just because we're just people like everybody else.
For sure, and I think the sooner that people who aren't cannabis consumers, who aren't as connected with the cannabis community as those of us who are in it are, realize that, the better off we'll be.
Right.
Right. I'm glad you got the glass blower there because I got to watch them at TY Expo, and the glass that they can create and the stuff that they can do, it's really an art, and it's a piece of glass art that they finished with.
I remember as a little girl, like, they used to have the tables of the glass art being blown, the glass in the malls, and you could get the little hummingbirds and the swans and stuff, and I was always fascinated with it then, even as a little kid. So now seeing what people do now, they make, some of the stuff is incredible. They embed, gems and stones and, different bangers and, I can't even alliterate how much stuff that is available to people.
Marbles that were like a 4-inch ball, but looked like it had a never-ending bottom to it.
Right? Yeah. Like, even making like goblets. Like, it doesn't even have to be cannabis related. Like I said, some of these glass blowers are so talented in so many aspects of making goblets and, even different figurines. Like, Kirsten's like owls. That's one of my things that I'm everybody kind of thinking they know that I collect owls, but she blows owls. And I didn't know this. It's like, are you kidding me? You blow owls? It's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I have to have that one and that one. And I'm not one to buy glass, but yeah, I've got an order in. It was sadly but true, but I do.
Well, they can become, I guess it depends on whether your goal is to collect them and just have them, or whether you plan on using them.
I don't think I'd use the owls. I think I would literally put them in with my collection and not use them.
Yeah, just have them on display.
Yeah, absolutely. They're beautiful. But like I said, the cup, like even like Dawson, Rutledge, like I said, everything is moving along nicely. Just having, it's a small event. Like I said, it's an intimate small event, and that's what I wanted. And yeah, I'm doing this to open up the kootenays. So put us on the map.
The first time through too, it's a learning experience. It gets the initial infrastructure in place, and then it allows the next year to keep growing, and the same thing the following year.
Right, and that's the thing. Like, if you don't try, you'll never know. It was the same. Like I said, it was the same with the first Global Marijuana March in Lethbridge. We stood on the front doorsteps of City Hall in 2008 and hoped that people would come, and they did. And that's all you can do, is be there to try. And if you don't, like I said, it takes. Jennifer Pierre made a really good comment today on my show. She said, it takes a bunch instead of just one stick. And that's something that the Indigenous use, that we have to bunch together and quit fighting each other and bundle ourselves together to, we can't always just be the standing stick alone. So that's my goal, is to try and make a community out here, because I'm not going anywhere. This is my grandparents' house. I'm stuck here for the rest of my life, so I got to do something to make it so that I can be comfortable here too.
That's right. That's right. Grassroots.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, Deb.
Have all of your judging kits gone?
Yes.
Awesome.
They are. All
Awesome.
50 of them are spoken for, yes. And I'm pretty happy about that. They weren't all paid for, because I gave VIP kits to all my entries and all my sponsors. And I'm really happy that Randy Kane and his daughter Tara are coming out. And I've never met Randy, and I'm so stoked to meet him. That's just totally, epic. And of course, my speakers are getting VIP kits, because, you expect nothing, but be grateful for and I'm just grateful they're coming. So, and nobody's given me I need this much to come or that much to come, which has been super, as well, because sometimes there's always a price tag. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, it's going to be, like I said, Asia's coming out. May Moon's on her way. We got Carol and Todd coming out from Australia. They've landed today, and they're at Asia's right now. And I think, I'm not even sure, I haven't heard from her. They might already be on the road. So
have you got any sponsors that you can throw their name out there?
Absolutely. I've got BC Bud Depot, Crop King Seeds, Hempies, Novelties and Gifts out of Langley, I think they're in Kelowna actually, Relief Compassion Centers, Van Grass, 12 High Chicks Magazine, Creative Factor, Crazy Diamond Seeds, Papa's Pipes, 420 Epic, let's see who else. I've got, there's more that keep coming in. THC, Towns THC, Reflection Resins. They just keep, like I said, they just keep piling up, which is terrific, because I can't keep up. It's where I found in the last week, it's just been kind of crazy. So.
Well, you got a long list of sponsors there, so that's good to see that you're getting some support.
Well, and local ones too, which Dr.
I recognize some of the names of those businesses that rhymed off there.
Well, and Crop King Seeds has been kind of on the low key for a while, and they're coming out. And BC Bud has always been a great sponsor for events across the country, as well as Crazy Diamond Seeds also sponsors Harvest Fest as well. He's always willing to step up. He was one of the first ones that did step up. It was harder getting sponsorship locally than it was from the cannabis community. The cannabis community stepped up. Like I said, HempWorks was another one that stepped up. And it's unfortunate that whatever's happening with their dynamic, with their corporation right now, she's had to back away. But she's a local woman too, that stepped up right away as well. So I'd like to give a shout out to Karen Roberts, because she did actually step out and come forward right along the very first of it. So I've had a lot of support, and it's been touch and go, because it's always how much it's money. And then that's the hardest part about this whole thing, especially when you don't have any. So I'm breaking even, and there's not probably going to be any extra, but I'm glad to know that it's going to break even. That's all I cared about.
Yeah. That's right. If you can break even that first year, then you did a great job.
Well, I gave a lot of tickets away, to be honest with you. I've got patients that stepped forward that paid for other patients to have tickets, so I gave those tickets to those patients. I've given away quite a few VIP and all access passes behind the scenes. So like I said, we're going to be a full house, but a lot of them, I'm guilty. I do it all the time. I'm a fucking shitty businesswoman now.
Well, if you can still break even and still give away passes to patients and whomever, then yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to get back, right? And I was given back to me in 2011 when I was stuck in a car and was driven in a blizzard to Cohill, Ontario to get my patients, to get my signature. And since then, it didn't matter who, what, if I can give back, I try. And that's all I can do.
Good old Cohill.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not far from here.
Yeah, absolutely. In a blizzard in the middle of February. It was February the 4th, I think it was. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, you didn't want to go up there in February.
That was the year we converged on the Hill for the 10th anniversary of the creation of the medical program.
That's right. It was, and I flew up from Alberta for that. So we protested on Parliament Hill. That's where I first met Debbie. So that was our first connection, and as often as I can get to see her, I do. Which is not very often because she lives at the other end of the country. But we were blessed to have a meeting of 2 years ago, I guess now, at Mum Cup. So we've seen each other. I guess it's been 2 years now, though. Next year, I tried to get to Harvest Fest, but it just didn't pan this year. But next year, I promise, sometime, somehow, some way, we'll get you here or me there.
Smuggle you in a suitcase.
No, I'm not. I've slept in a windowsill in Toronto. Ask Debbie. She saw it.
For real, she did.
I did. We were at the second Treating Yourself Expo that I was at, and I slept in a windowsill in a hotel room. It was quite something. I loved the view. It was great.
Was that the year the Killing Time band played?
It was.
It was.
That was great. Yeah, that was a great time. That's when you got the Michelle Rainey Award too, Al.
Yeah,
that's when I first met you. That's right.
Yes, I was gonna say that was the year we met. I got a picture of you and Deb together at the Killing Time concert.
That's right. Yeah.
And you're kind of photo bombing in the background.
But it's nice that we have that connection. Like I said, like we're all scattered across this country. You know,
well, that was the thing about these cups and stuff. That does allow, it depends on the size of them. It does allow people to get together.
And I think that's, we can't lose our community. And I think that's one of my biggest fears with this whole regime that's coming forward, that they're trying to get rid of what we've already built. And we can't lose that. We have to stay true to our hearts and know where we came from. And Julie will tell you, it's a renaissance, and we are going to be in the green rush, or we're going to renaissance ourselves through. So we have to learn and remember where we came from and what brought us here to begin with. And was it money that brought us all here, or was it changing law reform? Was it actually changing the laws and making it easier for patients to get access, or was it to get rich? So I like to, many of these people that are listening, to look at yourself in the mirror and see, were you looking to help patients, or were you looking to get rich? Because that's where we're at right now. And that's how I feel. I'm not even going to, alliterate that. And that's where we're at. Are you, where's your roots?
And there's nothing wrong with people making money.
No. Everybody has to have a livelihood. There's no disputing that. But the corporate, you know what I'm talking about, the corporates, the ones that have, turned their backs on where they've come from.
And there's certainly in the market in this whole country, there's room for the little guy, the craft growers, all of that, and there's room for the corporations. It doesn't have to be an either or situation necessarily. Some people prefer the corporate model. Other people prefer the craft industry, the smaller medical dispensaries, the hands-on experience, if you will. There's plenty of room for everyone. It just boggles my mind, this bureaucracy-driven regime that's so overwhelming that they feel that they have to deal with the plant in this way, when there's absolutely no need for it, in the guise of protecting children.
Well, we already know that there's children that need it. right? Like how many times have we stood up for the children that need CBD and the THC 1-to-1, whatever, even adults that need it? Like how many parents have been criminalized already for helping their children, and how is this new regime going to affect them too? Which is something people haven't looked at.
Yeah, I don't see it helping. I don't see it helping children whatsoever.
No.
No, me either.
No. Okay, Tamara, we're getting down to the last couple minutes. It's shout out time. Unless Deb's got another question or two she wants to throw at you.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of aspects of the cup. We've talked about the pros and cons of legalization, unless there's something else you'd like to touch on, Tamara.
No, I think I've said more than I should have already. As usual. I've always been over opinionated, and but no, I think that we all feel the same way. I think we're all on the same page. I don't think that there's too much bickering about the fact that this is not what we fought for. It is what it is, right? And let's try and change things as we move forward in the future.
Well, as you know, with your show, we're here to give our guests a voice. So opinion is fine.
Yeah, but I got 2 days. I got 2 days or 2 hours to do it.
So what? When just so you can let our listeners know, what time is your show on?
We are on every Wednesday morning at 9:30 a.m. on Mountain Standard Time, on lifestyleradio.net and 420radio.ca, the same as you. And shout out to Al Rapp, who's our producer. He does such a great job. But yeah, every Wednesday, going on, I don't know, I think we're on 72 shows now, I think. But yeah, it's been great. It's been fun, yeah. I really enjoy doing it. I like giving people a voice and having experts on to educate people. That's, like I said, what I've always wanted to do is change people's minds, even if it's one at a time. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. Because you can't always change a big crowd, but you can always change one eventually. So.
If I can change my mother's mind, that was a big thing for me, working for the RCMP for 30 years, and to have to change her mind, that was my main goal, and I did. So I'm not done yet. There's still other minds to change, but that was a big one.
Yes, I agree. I know, I agree again. Yeah, I had that mother as well that I had to deal with. So, all right, you got that covered. Deb, have you got a shout out?
Oh, well, I'd just like to give a shout out to Tamara for taking time out of her busy schedule, where she's still working on pulling together her judging packs for the Kootenai Cannabis Club, and
we're doing it right now as we speak.
I know this. I know how having just come through our own Harvest Fest and John Cook Memorial Cup, I know how busy and hectic those last days just before your event can be. So again, I truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us this evening. It just didn't seem fitting somehow to have my return to the airwaves and not have you involved, because way back when, you were my number one guest when we did our first show.
And you were my number one. She was my number one guest.
And Deb was my number one guest when I did the Skype calls at the cafe. Deb was the first one that I had on. Look at that.
Well, Deb's a pioneer, right? You can't have a show without Debbie Stutlz-Giffin. It just wouldn't be, right? And I'll give you a shout out, Deb, because really, you are an inspiration to all of us to keep us moving forward. And truly, you're one of our pioneers. You should be so, thank you. Thank you for everything that you do, for the Maritime United for Medical Marijuana, for the court support, for everything that you put forward at the Harvest Fest. There's so many things that you can't even list them. So never mind. I'll tell you, I talk to this lady on a regular basis, and she's running around like a chicken with her head cut off every day for patients. So she's a true warrior, for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I got another first, too. Deb was within the first group of 4 people I contacted to participate in the Pace Radio Show. And it's been almost 5 years, and Deb is still here.
And isn't she one of the first patients that ever got a Section 56 too?
Yes.
So there, right? So there we go. That's for pioneering, right? So we should all be bowing down to you, my dear.
You're making my head swell.
Oh, you know, don't get that bobblehead. That's why we love you so much.
Okay, and so Deb is, as Tamara says, Deb has returned here to the Pace Radio Show, and you'll be on the 4th Wednesday of every month, correct?
I believe so.
I believe so. Yep. That's the way it is scheduled. No, sorry. No, I'm wrong. Sorry. I am wrong. I'm just thinking, oh no, hang on there, Al. No, it's the 3rd. It's the 3rd.
Deb, we're talking about another show called Three Hot Chicks.
I've been testing tonight for the Karma Cup here. So,
Excuses. As I always say.
The 3rd Wednesday of the month. We'll be having a guest on the program. So, all right. I will be back next Wednesday. Kim will be my joint host that week, and her guest is a special guest. I just don't know who it is offhand. No, she's got one. You can find us on Twitter at Pace Radio. You can also find us on Facebook, and we're on Instagram as well. Thank you. Just go to our sponsors. Excuse me. The friendly and helpful folks at CC Nexus, Canada's cannabis seed wholesalers. They're found at ccnexus.global, as well as Al Rapp, our producer of the program. He's the man behind the baggie, and he's got the Shadowrizer in the other hand. No, he doesn't tonight, I understand. It must be charging out. All right. Also, a big thank you to you, Tamara, for coming on to the program and talking about your cup and your experience of going through your first cup.
Thanks, Al. Well, thanks so much for having me, and I love you guys all so much. And yeah, we'll talk again, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, we will. And to you, Deb, thank you for coming back to the show after taking a bit of a break. And I look forward to more of your guests coming up in the program.
My pleasure, and thanks for keeping a place open for me.
Not a problem. All right. Well, thank you to our listeners. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
So what are you doing? Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.